Working on a traction engine which is similar to a Minnie, Part 9, making the crankshaft-driven water pump work. The first problem was obvious, but the other issues were surprisingly difficult to fix. A while ago, when I looked in the check valve, I was surprised to find that there wasn't a stainless steel ball in there. So what I'm going to do first is fit a stainless steel ball in the check valve. Here I'm removing the top cap from the check valve, including the chewed up aluminium washer that I'm going to replace with a copper one. There was a problem that I fixed a couple of episodes ago. Believe it or not, the union nut was too big and I had to grind down some of the end of it so it fitted properly on the check valve's threads. And now it holds the cone union firmly in place against the valve. In an ideal world, all I need to do is fit a stainless steel ball in this check valve and it will work. Here is the smallest one that I have. And without further ado, this was dropped into the check valve. When I refitted the top cap, it wouldn't go all the way down. The top cap includes a ball valve travel limiter, and this was too big, so obviously the original ball in this valve was smaller than the one I fitted. So I put the cap in the lathe and shortened it. So now the ball valve limiter is not quite as long as it was. At this stage I refitted the top cap and everything looked okay. It's now time to connect the air line to this special part on top of the cylinder, which goes all the way down into the boiler. I'm fitting the usual piece of silicone rubber tubing with a spring clip. Now I can introduce compressed air into the boiler and run the engine. Before doing that though, I do need to put some water in the bunker tank, which this is an aerial view of. The first thing I notice is that the rubber washer on top of one of the valves is slightly cracked around the edge, so I'm thinking this may cause problems. I poured some spring water into the bunker tank, and now there's sufficient water in there to pump the water into the boiler, or so I thought, but instead it just dripped out of the union connector. At this stage I had a sneaking feeling that the ball valve limiter was still a bit too long. Or maybe it's the union cone that's leaking. So the easiest thing to do first is tighten the nut. At this stage I do not want to damage the check valve, so I'm being really careful. Gentle but firm. Clearly though, this is not the problem. I machined a bit more off the ball limiter and refitted the cap. And now it appears to be working. Well, it's not leaking at the moment. And the main reason for that is the bypass valve is fully open. It's time to close the bypass valve and see what happens. A small pipe allows you to see the water being bypassed. It's a piece of brass pipe and it's just inside where the water filler is on the side of the bunker tank. When I fully close the bypass valve, water starts to squirt everywhere from the rubber washers at the top of the valve chests. Clearly there is still some sort of a blockage. There isn't a lot of pressure in the boiler, so the water should be being pumped into the boiler, not leaking from every conceivable place around the check valve. It's belt and braces time. I'm going to resolder the union cone onto the pipe. I disconnected it from the check valve and using my Proxxon blowtorch I boiled off all the water, and eventually the solder around the fitting started to melt, so I added some more. I possibly added too much as usual, but a quick wipe with a cloth put it right. Now as you can see clearly, there aren't any more leaks from the pipe soldering. And once again it's time to refit the pipe to the check valve. Is it going to leak this time? Well yes, but it's leaking from a different place. It's leaking from the inspection plug. This was a quick fix. I removed it, coated the threads in Loctite 542 and refitted it. I know now that the ball inside the valve is lifting because the inspection plug is above the level of the ball inside the check valve. Now it's not leaking at all and water is being pumped into the boiler. It's a simple job to run the traction engine with the bypass valve closed and fill the boiler. A bit of a word about water. This is a bottle of still spring water, 500 millilitres of still spring water. I drink this stuff regularly. After a while, some water appeared in the water gauge, so I think we have success. No leaks from the check valve and water climbing up the glass. After a while, it climbs up the glass a bit further. Nothing is leaking, not even the rubber washers on top of the valve chests in the water in the bunker tank. In no time at all, the boiler is half full. When I look at the size of this 500ml bottle, it's approximately the same size as the boiler. So I would say that the capacity of this boiler is more or less 500 millilitres, half a litre. I filled the water gauge right up to the top, and there was still some water left in the tank. When I first had a look at the way this traction engine was put together, I noticed that there wasn't a stainless steel ball in the check valve, and I wondered why not. I think the reason is, without the ball in the check valve, it didn't leak, and any air pressure in the boiler just blew back to the second valve in the bunker tank, but now it's working properly. Even pumping water into the boiler against the boiler pressure, the engine works very well. Here's a close-up shot of the water filler on the bunker tank, and with the bypass valve fully open, you can see water coming out of the pipe from the bypass valve. Even at these slow speeds, running on very low pressure, the engine's very smooth in both directions. It's a bit of a puzzle to me why someone who's capable of making an engine like this didn't use silver solder for the parts. Everything on it is soft soldered, and the soft soldering is generally okay, except where the union cone was soldered onto the pipe that went to the check valve. Now that's fixed and I can give the engine a clean bill of health. The boiler safety valve I've set to £30 per square inch, or thereabouts, and the engine runs very well on a lot less pressure than 30 psi. I'm going to see if I can source a gas burner and fit one underneath the boiler to give it a steam test. I have great confidence in this boiler. Initially I fed it with compressed air at £60 per square inch and it doesn't leak anywhere. I wouldn't normally do this, but I just got a feeling that this boiler was very well made, and it is. Here I'm checking that the regulator works because it didn't originally, but now for some reason it works perfectly. As I close it, the engine stops. And as I open it and give the flywheel a quick push, the engine starts, so everything's okay there too. I'll take some measurements underneath the firebox and see if there are any commercial gas burners of the right size. But that's it for now. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.